Hey there, welcome back. Day 17. Can't even believe it. We're on the back half. I hope that your observations yesterday went really well. We're working on a big piece of experiencing living differently. And primarily because, a lot of our knee-jerk reactivity shows up in our communication. It shows up in our engagements with others, etc. Excuse me. And as does our passive communication and our assertive communication. So, this is a really big space. So today I really want to dive into where you think you fall, right? Like, do you hear what people are really saying? So if you want to improve that communication, right, we have to realize, own, accept that active listening is the actual way to go, right? So if we think about that, we're listening. When we're active listening, we're listening to obtain information, to understand. We're also listening for enjoyment and to learn. So if we're, worried about keeping things in, or we're worried about digging our heels in to be right, we're not actively listening. So definitely take some time today to observe how that is. Am I listening to obtain information, to understand? Am I listening for enjoyment and to learn? And really ask yourself those questions. So, so that we can see how you do with some of these very key elements. So if you have your pen and your paper, perhaps writing these down would be extremely beneficial, right? So ask yourself, how often did I pay attention and give the person that was speaking to me my undivided attention? And did I acknowledge their message? How many times did you show that you were listening through your body language and gestures that conveyed your attention? Was I leaning in? Was I, did I have my head rested? Was I nodding? What was that? Like, what were those gestures that you were outwardly showing them that you were interested and intrigued or engaged in what they were saying, or just that you were listening out of respect, whatever it is? Then ask yourself, did I provide feedback? Now, in this, I want you to be watching for some personal assumptions, judgments, and beliefs that can distort what you hear. So if you go into a conversation assuming that the other person is what the other person is going to say, you are in a personal assumption. You're not really listening. You've already formulated in your head what this is like, or what this is going to be like, or what's going to be said and why, and all of those things. One of the biggest pet peeves I have is, I already know how you think or feel about this. Don't tell me how I think. You're not in my head, or, whatever it is. So, you want to be watching for those personal assumptions, those judgments. Oh, they're in a bad mood. That's a judgment, right? These things, they distort how you hear, how you lean in. So then ask yourself this: in that exchange, did I ask any clarifying questions before I gave my input? In other words, did I seek for deeper understanding? Did I confirm that I understood what they were saying correctly? Did I restate the direction that I was being given to ensure that I had it right? So did I ask clarifying questions before I gave my input? Were you able to defer judgment? Because honestly, again, that judgment is just wasteful interruptions. So you want to also ask if you were successful at responding appropriately. Did I respond? Or did I catch myself being reactive? I don't know why you think that. Reactive. instead of responding, help me understand why you think or feel that way about whatever it is I just said. Help me understand. So anyway, those are some things that you can be observing for. Questions, very pointed questions you can ask yourself. The deal is this: active listening is a skill. Now, it's a skill that can 100% be acquired and developed, but it does take time. It takes patience. It takes practice. And it can be quite difficult to master. So, for me, I think, I really worked hard at it for a couple of years, but I still have to be on top of it. I have to go into something very mindful to be an active listener. So you just want to know, like, it's something that, the more positive feedback you can give yourself on it, like, wow, that went great. I was actively listening. I asked great questions, yada, yada, like that's going to encourage it. So this is a space, active listening, right? It's a full concentration on what is being said rather than just passively hearing a message. It's involving the use of all of your senses. You're paying attention to, how's my body reacting? Am I cognitively present, emotionally present, physically present? What's going on? So, as an active listener, we have to be seen as listening and interested. So how am I outwardly expressing that without it being kind of goofy? Yeah. So again, thinking of it this way. So my active listening skills, right, are about patience. It's about pauses. And it's always involves short periods of silence that are acceptable. And if in your communications, pauses of silence are not acceptable, like you want instant gratification, tell me why you did that, kind of thing, that's very reactive. That's aggressive communication. It's, so you want to be creating space in your communication so that we can formulate our response versus a reaction. And so periods of silence need to become acceptable. And then just remember, right, this is all about giving the other person time to explore their thoughts, feelings also. So we need to be giving them adequate time as well as taking adequate time ourselves, so that, our conversations aren't on rapid fire all the time. We are conditioned by this thing, the knee jerk, got to answer right away. But we're not taking a breath, tapping in, like, what's going on in my gut? Did I just get a cortisol dump? Is the hair standing up on the back of my neck? Did I just get goosebumps? What's going on, and how do I really feel? And if I know how to do that, right, with that core non-physical feeling, check in right here, right now, in this moment. I feel irritated, agitated, annoyed, frustrated, bothered, intrigued, interested, inspired, all the things, right? Like, so we know how we're feeling, thinking, and believing about whatever's going on before we open our mouth, and it gets quicker and quicker. But it still doesn't have to be that instant gratification highway that we are so accustomed to. And this is a large part of why the communication breakdown happens in our relationships, whether that be our personal relationships, our professional relationships, our social relationships, whatever it is. So just be mindful of that and give that a good deep practice, because the more we can communicate effectively and assertively, again, open, honest, genuine, transparent, and authentic in all things that we do, say, and experience, but also giving that same blessing back to the other person, whoever is on the other end of that, whether you know them or you don't know them. Be kind, courteous, have grace, have patience, be understanding, knowing that if it's a stranger and it's somebody at the store and you're getting irritated, agitated, annoyed with them, just know that they're living their life too. They aren't intentionally getting in your way. They're not going out of their way to bother you. They may have a lot of personal things going on. Just like my example with, somebody tailgating you on the freeway. instead of getting all hot and bothered and slamming on your brakes and, doing the flip the bird thing, right? Just move over, because you have zero idea what's going on in their life. Honestly, they don't mean for you to feel like you're in their way, but the bottom line is you could very well be in their way. Perhaps their child just got hit by a train and they're desperately trying to get to the emergency room. You don't know. It's none of your business, because sure, they could have stayed up late the night before, tied one on. They only got 2 hours of sleep. They're hungover and they're late for a really important meeting. We don't know what the issue is, but you got to check in with yourself, right? And in the grand scheme of things, letting somebody go by that wants to drive 95 when you're going 75, it's a split second. It's not even a full second, right? Like they're past you, they're gone. So how do we want to, experience these things? We've got to get out of that knee-jerk reactivity and really get into a space that allows for other people, right? My life motto is, this is my life too. It gets to look, feel, and be however I want it to. I get to choose. Well, in that motto, I get to offer that to every other being on the planet, because guess what? If that's true for me, it's true for you and everybody else. Anyway, I could get up on a big soapbox today, but I'm not going to. You enjoy your day, observe, and really be in tune with yourself, be connected, be present, be assertive. I'll talk to you tomorrow.